As the sun begins to set upon Chloropia, the people of Lightsville and Darksville begin their nightly routines. But one villager by the name of Kelvin will start a cycle that will have the ability to power the entire village of Nightsville and Darksville. You see, Calvin's day begins when other villagers' days end. First, Calvin of Darksville trades with Light of Lightsville. In this trade, Calvin receives 6 ATP and 6 NADP energy. This energy is in the form of a lava bucket, and it is used in the creation of G3P, something used to make sugar. Next, he is given 6 CO2 to be used as a structural component for the rest of the cycle. All these components are made by Lightsville and given to Darksville. After this, 6 ADP plus P and 6 NADP plus is given back and returned to Light so he can rephosphorilize it to give it energy again. In return, 2 G3P is made, which is used for glucose. Now this is Kelvin. Kelvin is very special in that he is a wizard. He works at night to make sugar in the form of G3P. So he does this through the utilization of 6 CO2 and 6 NADPH and 6 ATP to make specifically 2 G3P, as you can see here in this trade. Now that we know what Kelvin does and why it's so important, we're going to switch into Kelvin's perspective so we can see how he makes his sugar. So now we're Kelvin. Now that we're Kelvin, we can begin the process of the Kelvin cycle. So first what Kelvin does is that he's going to take Ribusco, a special enzyme he uses to bind together RUBP and CO2. This part of the Kelvin cycle is known as carbon fixation. This is one of 3 parts of the Kelvin cycle where 7 carbon sugar is made. Now with our 3 CO2 and our 3 RUBP, we will be binding them together, then breaking them apart again to make G3P. Now this is created with the help of many different enzymes and specifically energy from ATP and NADP, which is our lava in this situation. Now we have our G3P. We only get 1 G3P from 3 cycles of the Kelvin cycle because we have to make RUBP. RUBP is the end product of the Kelvin cycle. And with every Kelvin cycle, we get 1 net carbon, going towards the creation of 3 carbon G3P. The rest of the carbon in this cycle after the reduction phase is used in the creation of RUBP. This stage is called the regeneration of RUBP. During this process, for every Kelvin cycle, 1 ATP and 1 NADP is used. Now that we've created 2 G3P, we can go on and trade with our other villagers so they can make glucose. Glucose is made from G3P by just combining 2 G3P together, since 1 G3P is 3 carbons and glucose is 6 carbons. Now that we have our sugar, we go to our villager friend Kelvin, give him a thanks, and go on throughout the rest of the village and distribute the sugar to wherever it's needed. So now that the sun has risen again, the people of Lightsville can go back and create more ATP and NADPH to be used by Kelvin to make more sugar, and so they can harvest more CO2, and the cycle continues. The end.